6,000 calls just in the last 24 hours after surveillance footage was released showing a masked man at Nancy Guthrie's front door the morning she disappeared. But a man detained and questioned last night was released, and investigators have been searching the area near the home today.
From here on up north toward the actual Catalina Foothill Mountains, you have FBI agents kind of going and checking all the roads and seeing, what they find. Nobody has told us specifically what they're looking for.
Fox's Trace Gallagher in Tucson. A star of the 90s and beyond has died. James Vanderbeek, best known from the hit series Dawson's Creek. He had been diagnosed with colorectal cancer in 2024 and was just 48. President Trump not backing away from nuclear talks with Iran after a lengthy White House meeting with Israel's leader.
President Trump says he insisted negotiations with Iran will continue during an hours-long closed-door meeting with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. Ahead of the meeting, Netanyahu's office said the prime minister would urge talks with Iran to also include limits on its ballistic missile program and support for terror groups. President Trump, in a social media statement, says his preference is a deal, but warns if not, we just have to see what the outcome is, pointing to U.S. airstrikes last year targeting Iran's nuclear facilities.
Fox's Jared Halpern at the White House. More hiring in the U.S. than expected in January. 130,000 jobs created. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent tells Fox.
This is what we've been setting the table for all of 2025. I've said that repeatedly. We put the necessary ingredients, policies into place, and now they're starting to pay off.
The new report also includes reductions, though, in previous jobs numbers, and stocks finish lower. The Dow down 66 points at the bell. America is listening to Fox News.
Welcome back to Winter Hack Radio, the place for clever hacks to survive the season. Icy driveway? Well, try spreading sand or birdseed to help with traction. Snowy puppy paws? Well, grab a whisk, brush it off, done. Catch COVID-19? Well, just get...
Actually, there's no hack for COVID-19. But if you test positive, prescription medications for COVID exist. Ask your doctor if they're right for you. Visit PfizerForAll.com to learn more. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Are you a fraud-paying American? 1 in 4 tax-paying Americans have been victim of identity fraud. With LifeLock, your identity, if it's stolen, they fix it, guaranteed, or your money back. And last year, billions in refunds were stolen. Could be from your salary, overtime, or second job. Gone. But this year, you don't need to stay a victim. Because this tax season, fraud-paying American is something no American should have to claim. Save up to 40% off your first year with the promo code BECK. Visit LifeLock.com. Terms do apply.
More than a week after a family went missing in Alabama, a second arrest is made.
Juan Carlos Guerra was arrested after a traffic stop and charged with 3 counts of kidnapping. Aurelia Chakak, her teenage daughter, and 2-year-old son have been missing since late January. A black van seen at their residence the day they disappeared is being investigated. Mobile County Sheriff Paul Birch said he hopes Guerra will talk.
Anytime you arrest somebody, you're in hopes that they're going to tell you what occurred, and then, our main goal is to find them safely.
A second man, Silverio Garcia, is also in custody. He's said to be the missing mom's boss and reportedly dating her adult daughter. Garcia is charged with gun possession, but so far not with the disappearances. Gernal Scott, Fox News.
Attorney General Pam Bondi says there's no evidence in the Epstein files that the president committed a crime, while also facing questions about redactions and mistakes in redactions during release of the files.
We were given 30 days to review and redact and unredact millions of pages of documents. Our error rate is very low.
At a House hearing also rejecting Democrat claims she's using the Justice Department to launch vendettas for the president. Several Democratic lawmakers will not face charges for a video Republicans say could put national security at risk.
Senator Alyssa Slotkin says she found out through the media that reportedly a grand jury rejected an attempt by the Department of Justice to charge them for appearing in a video encouraging service members to not follow orders they view as unlawful.
Intimidation was the point, to get other people beyond us to think twice about speaking out.
Slotkin says she's keeping her options open when asked if she will sue Attorney General Pam Bondi.
Fox's Ryan Schmelz is on the Hill. Again, the Dow finishing down, the S&P and the NASDAQ also in the red. Elise Brady, Fox News.
The Drive with Curtis Allen and Evan Stone on ESPN 93.5.
Wisconsin's hit 15 threes. This is Blackwell with 5. Blackwell tries and connects. Okay. He missed it. 5.7. Wagler. He's been the superstar. Wagler for the win. Wisconsin has won in Champaign for the first time in 7 years.
You mentioned a few times that you think there's some calls that Keaton's not getting, and you talked about every game being officiated differently. How do you guide Keaton through that? When
I had no idea. We sent 12 in the other day from Michigan State. We'll send the missed out-of-bounds play in the first play of the overtime. That's egregious, right? I mean, it's egregious. We will definitely send in the 10-second call that happens. I mean, it's 5 feet from getting across half court, and there's 10-second call on it. And we got guys that miss that, and they're making. I mean, it's just, you know, I don't know. I don't know what to do with it. I don't know. I'm done talking to people. I don't get called. I'm done. I'm frustrated as heck. I'm very frustrated, and because it changes so much from game to game. We had a guy tonight we haven't had in 2 years. 2 years. Do a league game. Do a league game in 2 years.
And then he left the press conference. ESPN Radio 93.5. It is The Drive. I'm Curtis Allen. That is Evan Stone. Heartbreaker last night at State Farm Center for the Illini. Lots of finger pointing going on today. A lot of upset fans, understandably so. Where do you want to start, man? 92-90, the Illini fall to the Badgers in overtime.
Well, here's where I want to start. And we were texting last night. We were in a nice little group text with
Nephew Coop.
Nephew Cooper, as he was writing his paper.
Yeah, he was not paying attention to homework, no.
And I got to say, like, last night, as the game's unfolding, as I'm watching it, and, like, I was pretty upset.
I noticed.
I was pretty frustrated. And then as, you know, you sleep, you wake up, the sun comes up, trains are still working.
Yeah, you can hear one right now outside the studio if you listen close.
I mean, you get to a point where you realize, okay, let me look at it in context, and let me take a deep breath. We should have won that game. And we should have won at Michigan State. But, man, you take away 2 primary ball handlers, 2 of your best front court options. They're just sitting on back court options. They're just sitting on the bench because they're hurt. And you're going to have games like this. I mean, so many, 13 turnovers. You get out-rebounded on the offensive glass, 15-8 or whatever it was.
Yep.
You miss free throws, you shoot 50-something% from the free throw line.
Just like anything, free throws and rebounding is usually the name of the game. And not a good night for either last night for the Illini.
Yeah, and then you just heard it in the opening, Coach Underwood talking about the officiating.
Whew.
Which,
boy, did he.
I say this constantly. I will never blame officials for a loss. I think athletes always have an opportunity in their hand to overcome bad officiating. However, they do affect games, and this is back-to-back games, kind of heartbreaking overtime losses, where Coach Underwood is just throwing his hands in the air and trying to figure out, like, what are we doing?
Well, yeah, so from that point, there are a handful of quotes that came out of last night's presser with Underwood before the very last question that was asked of him was by our guy Joey Wagner from Illini Inquirer, and that was where you really saw the frustration boil over. He'd had enough in regards to the officiating and walked out. And that may or may not have been the last question anyways. I'm not sure if that was the point in the presser where, you know, someone says, hey, you got 2 more. But that was, whether it was or not, didn't matter. That was it for Coach Underwood. He was done last night. Lots of questions were being asked. In particular, if you were watching that game, you could see late in the second half, those guys are on rubber legs. Like, I'm texting you at some point. I'm going, they're gassed. These kids are gassed. Keaton Wagler was done, and that's not a knock. I mean, back-to-back overtime performances. So one of the big knocks last night, and I saw a lot of vitriol headed towards Underwood, was why are you only using 6 guys? Why aren't we using more guys? Why don't you have Petro out there? And he was asked about that. I want to play you this clip. This is Underwood's response.
You go into tonight thinking it would be 6 in the rotation, or did you think you could steal minutes out of Brandon or Petro at all tonight?
You're trying to win a game, so it's you play the guys that you've gone through the battles and gone through the wars, and it wasn't a knock on them. I just felt like that. I thought we could do some things size-wise, and like I said, I'm probably the most disappointed in the rebounding. It was kind of an uncharacteristic turnover night for Merck. Where he was so good at Michigan State handling the ball, but again, that's the 19 years old, logging a lot of minutes, and kind of just had a little off night for him.
19 years old, logging a lot of minutes because you're using 6 guys, and it's. Tell me if I'm wrong here, but it sounds like you're delivering 2 messages there. You're saying, look, I got to go with the guys that I got. You say that line, these are the guys I'm going to battle with, or these are the guys you go to war with. But at the same time, then you bring up Merck and go, man, he made some mistakes because he's logging a lot of minutes. So is the depth that... use the word bad, but is the depth that lacking that you can't spell Keaton for 2 or 3 minutes with Petrovic to get him a breather, or is it that bad where you can't put Merck on the bench for a couple of minutes? You're rotating 6 guys, and that is it. I mean, that's a rough night. I don't care whether it's college or the NBA or what.
Yeah. I think if I'm going to try and take an objective step back on some of the conversations we've been having. A lot of the time, Coach Underwood has been saying, someone will ask the question, are you worried about how many minutes Keaton's playing? He says, he's 19, he can run forever.
Yeah, that's the line.
I do believe what he said about Merck was different, where you're seeing mental exhaustion versus physical exhaustion, potentially, when he's talking about the turnovers.
Yeah.
Listen, there's a lot going on. You can see there's obviously not a lot of trust in Brandon Lee and Mihailo to step in and to to keep the ship afloat.
Yeah.
I do wonder, you build yourself a 7, 8, 9 point lead, a minute here, a minute there. We were just talking off air, coaches are weird, man. They've got well, just to the extent that they've got in their head of what
this works.
Yeah, and
this is how it works for me. Yeah,
and we all look, or I won't say we all. Me personally, I look at it as if I'm like playing a game of Madden or something. Where hey, just throw this person in for a minute so that person can get a rest. And I just don't think it works like that in real life, in the sense of the way that it then butterfly affects the rest of the game. So I don't know. Scott and Terre Haute says Underwood built the roster and then excuses after a loss, just own it. I can understand that to an extent, but at the same time, you have 4 guys on this roster that you were hoping could give you at least from starting to spelling a minute or two, and Jason Jactus, who are in street clothes. Well, I guess, Andre was in his uniform last night, but you got Kylan Boswell and Andre Stojakovic, 2 of your starters, best players on this team, ball handlers, someone that you can count to lock down on defense. You've got Ty Rodgers, who, we haven't had him all year, so we're not trying to point at that of like, wow, look at this now. But when you're constructing the roster, Ty Rodgers was a big piece of that. And then Jason Jactus, who's supposed to, be able to come in for a couple of minutes, he's looked the little spot minutes he's played this year. He's looked like he's keeping his head above water. Like he can figure it out to give Tommy and Z a spell if there's foul trouble or they're tired. And none of those guys are available. And now you're seeing that Petrovic, it's weird. It's interesting. I don't know what's going on behind the scenes, but to not even get 30 seconds, I mean, it's a little interesting. But at the same time, I'm not going to sit here and pretend that it's easy for Brad to look at the end of his bench right now and see some guys that maybe he doesn't trust and say, hey, I need 2 minutes from you. Get in. When he doesn't trust him. So he's got, and all that to say, with 6 guys, they still should have won that game. So honestly, we can look at it now, hindsight, but at the end of the day, you still should have won that game and Michigan State with the rotation that Underwood is playing.
217-359-2255. That's your number for the Max Twin City Recycling text line. More than one person has sent in the text about, that 20-year-olds don't get tired. I see you, Big Def. I see you on there. And just kind of the winking Brad Underwood quote that is being sent in. 217 texter, Lee got minutes very early on. It didn't look good. Brad decided right then and there he was rolling with 6 guys. Lee played for 57 seconds. He didn't get minutes. He was on the court for under a minute before he got pulled off. So let me ask you this.
And I think he had 2 pretty major defensive breakdowns in those 57 seconds.
Yeah, he did. He got beat to the basket pretty clean on one particular play. What does Keaton Wagler need? That has been a question. What can you do to help Keaton through this process was a question that Underwood was asked. Listen to this response.
Brad, what more can you ask for Keaton right now? I mean, he feels like he's carrying such a huge load for you offensively.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Help. He needs help. He needs, they got picked up 94 feet and they denied him. And, not that bothers him, but it's remarkable, quite remarkable what he's been doing and the load he's done. I didn't realize he had 34. I mean, it was it was as quiet at 34 as there was. And he's getting beat on. Their bench stands up and claps, when they commit a hard foul on him in the first half. I looked at the official and I said, they're down clapping. He goes, well, that's not very classy. I said, not really, but, Greg's a good friend. But that's what teams are trying to do to him is just be physical. And, we got to deal with that. Got to deal with that. Every game's officiated very, very differently in this league. And, we just came off an extremely physical, and I couldn't be prouder of him.
So there you go. He needs help. Keaton Wagler needs help. What does that look like to you, Evan Stone?
Well, I think he needs a couple things. He talks about getting picked up at 94 feet and being denied. So what he's talking about there is Keaton can't even walk the ball up the floor because teams are now starting to pick him up right away,
immediately.
So what they did at Michigan State and what they had done Northwestern, and I think some in Nebraska, they started having David bring up the ball.
Yeah.
So Keaton can walk up the floor. He doesn't have to stress about trying to, protect the ball and all of that. He can take a moment. David walks up the floor because they're not going to full court with a big that's guarding David. And then denied, as he's sprinting around, they're switching on defense in front of the screens. So that even when he comes around the screen, they've blocked the passing line. So he's having to work even harder to then get the ball. So when he says Keaton needs help, what he's talking about is Keaton needs some other guys who, especially in a game like last night, can step up and handle the ball in a high basketball IQ manner, to not have turnovers, because it's really hard to let someone else bring the ball up the floor when they keep throwing it away, dribbling it off their foot, with jacking shots that are not smart shots,
Yeah.
Which I didn't see a whole ton of shot.
The shot selection was much better last night than it was against.
And we talked about this.
Yeah.
They shot 53% from the floor and 45% from three.
Yeah.
Like, you tell me those numbers, you say, hey, Keaton's got 34 points, the Illini are 53% from the floor, 45% from three, and I'm like, we just won by 30. And
well, you would think.
You would think. And so I think he just, when Underwood says he needs help, he needs 2 things. He needs other people who can be trustworthy with the ball, so that Keaton doesn't have to do as much and control as much. But also, as he just said, he needs some help from the officials to call the game, that when he's getting hammered, he's getting, he's got the all-star performance without the all-star treatment from the officials. And this is, once again, someone else texted in a 217 number, said, my huge thing with Underwood is he'd rather talk about the refs than just moving on, and accept that Wisconsin outplayed Illinois yesterday. I don't know if Wisconsin necessarily outplayed Illinois. Maybe.
The guard
they
play.
won,
The guard play
whatever.
was as good as advertised.
But also, I will say, Underwood is asked about the officials, so
Yeah.
he answers the question. But also, you see a couple of moments there where, man, and this is what's frustrating to me. He's like, we sent 12 plays into the office. It's like, okay.
12.
So the office can be like, oh, sorry, bud. We'll try and do better next time. It's like there's no accountability.
Well, no, and that is the great circle of college basketball when it comes to the officiating, right? Or just college athletics in general. And I know they do it in the pros too. They send in a lot of plays, but generally speaking, it seems like a lot more gets sent in at the collegiate level than at the professional level. And I don't know what, you don't take the play back or you don't take the call back. There's nobody's, that was a foul. So we're going to reward you with 2 free throws here
if you
that
could
magically count now. Actually, you won that game. That doesn't happen, right?
Well, actually, if you could just run over to State Farm Center real quick
Go ahead and
shoot a couple of free throws, and we'll see if we add those to the score or not. Yeah, I think when he's talking about Keaton needing help, he's pleading for his team to have higher IQ, but also he's pleading for protection for his player, who I'm sure gets back to that locker room and he's bruised and, he's just got beaten up. And all of this to say, make a couple of free throws, or if Keaton's last second shot is half an inch farther, we're talking about an Illinois win. But we're not. Here we are.
Well, that's, you give up that run late in the game because you're gassed, because you're running on empty, no pun intended. And you probably don't go to overtime if you make your free throws. Before the end of regulation, you're talking about a 5-6 point win. 217-359-2255. Our friend Colleen Kane from the Chicago Tribune covers the Illini. We're going to talk with Colleen in just a bit on the Dick Van Dyke Appliance World phone line. We'll get her perspective on things and where the Illini will go from here ahead of Sunday's game with the Hoosiers. Also, keep the text coming, 217-359-2255. This one from Kenny on the text line. He says, I know they didn't make the basket and we lost, so I guess it doesn't matter, but I wanted to know your thoughts. At the end of regulation, Wisconsin has the ball with 18 seconds left to win the game, and they were able to get a shot off. We only had 5 fouls, so we had a foul to give. Why didn't Underwood have his guys foul and make sure they weren't in a shooting motion?
I think it's a great question. And once again, coaches' philosophies on whether or not they're going to foul or not at the end of the game, whether you're up 3 and we're going to foul, or I think because it's tied, it just wasn't even worth. We're just going to play defense. I mean, all it takes is one ref to go a little gung-ho and get a little bit crazy. He obviously didn't trust the officials. And did he trust his team's IQ in that moment to not foul while somebody was shooting? I don't know. Like you said, it's all, maybe we're thinking about this differently if they do hit a shot there and you got a foul to give. Yeah.
Who did the play-by-play on Peacock last night with Hummel? What's his name?
Well, Cooper said it the other day. Was it John? I can only think of John Farva.
Farva.
I don't think that's it.
Great prank, Farva. Yeah. Well, I see. I every time he's on the call, I miss his name, which I feel bad about, and then I forget to go look and check. But I've been working on an impression.
Oh.
I don't know if it's ready for prime time just yet, but I just want you to know, as soon as I get this thing down, I'm going to have all sorts of fun stuff to say. 217-359-2255. Not Carmen and Fisher says John Fanta. Close. Not quite Farva. You guys want to go to, was it Bennigan's? Shenanigans? Shenanigans? You guys want to go to Shenanigans? Want a liter of cola?
Hey, what's that restaurant you like with all the stuff? Shenanigans? You want to go to Shenanigans?
You guys want to go to Shenanigans? 217-359-2255. Thank you for everybody's texting it. John Fanta. Not Farva. Or Farley. Not Farley. But he's got... I'm working on it. I don't want to do the impression just yet. I'm going to keep working on it. Colleen Kane from the Chicago Tribune is up next on The Drive.
Do you enjoy this?
Absolutely.
But you're talking about going to a jail. You got to watch your back.
Yeah, sometimes that is the way it is. Sometimes these people are at the lowest points in their life, and all you can do is be there to help. Correction officers, we're not just there to guard and walk around. We're there as a form of support. I couldn't imagine myself anywhere else.
Coming up February 21st is the Special Olympics Polar Plunge in Muhammad at Lake of the Woods.
Yep.
Your team typically comes together in support.
I had Micah approach me, and he started talking about Special Olympics, and he convinced me to do the polar plunge, and ever since then, I've been hooked on it.
What are you feeling when you see these costumed characters running into this frigid water? winter.
Oh, it's so awesome. It's when you get out and the cold air hits you. That's when you got to kind of make a run for the heated tent.
And then you can change into some regular clothes, and then you join us with your Special Olympic hoodie on in the pavilion for some Hickory River dinner.
Absolutely.
That's awesome.
Jacob Curtis, you are a law enforcement official of the month here from Stevie J Broadcasting. All right, so when I think Ashley, I want to talk about home. What does that mean to you, Ellen?
Home is where all of the memories and all the magic happens.
That's what Ashley stands for. I mean, Ashley's been around a very, very, very long time.
Yes.
A family owned, same family since when?
My family's been in it since 1872.
That's very unusual.
Our values at Ashley are family oriented. I think it's important to solidify those moments at home and having furniture and make it special.
A tribute to the Ashley Home Store at 602 West Anthony Drive. You see that bench, and explain what that's all about.
So we just got out of the basement of our original store, my great-great-grandfather's workbench, where he was a cabinet maker by trade, came over from Germany in the 1800s, and of course he built his own workbench, and we just put it out on display in the Champaign locations for everybody to see. We are IL Home Stores online. We're on Facebook, Instagram, and our website is ashley.com.
Within the cities we call home, Busey Bank is more than a name. It's a commitment to your dreams. With Busey, trusted guidance is tailored to empower you every step of the way. Whether it's seamlessly managing your finances or planning for your future, Busey is dedicated to your financial success. Busey Bank, building business, growing wealth since 1868. Member FDIC.
It seems like the cost of everything is on the rise, but Erie Insurance can help make sure your auto insurance premium isn't one of them. Avoid rate increases with Erie Rate Lock. Even if you have a claim, your rates won't go up until you change your car, driver, or address.
Your Erie agent in Champaign is Thomas & Ellers Insurance.
Erie Rate Lock is not available in all states. Other conditions and limitations at erieinsurance.com. Go to erieinsurance.com for company licensure and product details.
Carpet Weaver's Flooring and Furniture Gallery makes it easy to start your new flooring project. Right now you'll find project price drops on floors store-wide. First, get an instant $100 off every $1,000 you spend on flooring. Find price drops on carpet, luxury vinyl, hardwood, and more. Then get a $50 labor credit with every 100 square feet of flooring you purchase. And buy it all with free financing for up to 2 years. Save now during the Project Price Drops event at Carpet Weavers.
Actually, I called a provider. It was just going to be a while before I could have service, and I couldn't wait, so I was recommended to Classic. Professionalism, their dependability, credibility, and the service technicians, I wouldn't ever call anybody else.
I truly believe that after people have experienced other companies and then given us a try, they can clearly see the difference.
Visit ClassicPlum.com. The Drive with Curtis Allen and Evan Stone on ESPN 93.5.
Health? I mean, you think we played bad at Michigan State? Played pretty good. We led the whole game. We didn't get one defensive rebound. We played pretty good tonight. It was 6 dudes. You know, we're the only team in the country that's played 11 games in 33 days, 10 and 30 in the Power 4. Coming off the Michigan State, this sounds like an excuse. Maybe it is, but we're logging a lot of minutes. We had one ball handler tonight. And, and coming off a very physical Michigan State game, an emotional game, this was going to be a really hard game anyway, and Wisconsin is very talented and obviously won in Ann Arbor as well. So I'm really proud of our guys. I don't have one complaint. We just need health and, changes things.
ESPN Radio 93.5. It is The Drive. I'm Curtis Allen. That is Evan Stone. The Illini fall at home last night. Second overtime game in a row. This time 92-90 against the Badgers of Wisconsin. Not a fun one, Evan Stone, but here they are. And where they go from here, maybe the Big Ten title is out of reach for this particular season.
Well,
I don't know.
I don't know if it's necessarily out of reach, but it's no longer in your own hands.
It's not in your control anymore. And we'll talk about that and all things Illini basketball with our friend from the Chicago Tribune. Colleen Kane is on the Dick Van Dyke Appliance World phone line with us. Colleen, how you doing today?
I'm good. How are you guys?
I'm doing all right. Evan's calmed down. He was very, very hostile last night. I think I talked him off the ledge.
I don't know if hostile's the right word.
He was pretty fired up. He was pretty fired up.
I'm frustrated. Yeah.
Colleen, a heartbreaker last night. The Illini are using a rotation of just 6 guys with Andre Stojakovic had a sprained ankle. Underwood not sure yet on his return. Kylan Boswell's making progress. Give me your take on last night and where the Illini go from here.
Yeah, I'm not a big one on making excuses, but when you think about that game and what Illinois was missing without Kylan Boswell and Andre Stojakovic and kind of just how the game unfolded, I think it's fair to say that, or at least in my opinion, I think it would have been a different game if both of them would have been there. Obviously missing them, Kylan, one of your best defenders, hurt on the defensive end against, one of the best guard tandems in the Big Ten, and Nick Boyd and John Blackwell. So, Boyd had kind of a quiet, bad first half, and I'm sitting there thinking, I don't think it's going to stay this way. Like I'm wondering how this game is going to turn. And sure enough, they take over down the line, and I feel like having Boswell and Stojakovic there would have helped to contain them a little bit. And then it hurt on the offensive end too. Keaton Wagler, I think, he was fantastic, had a great bounce back game, but there were just some possessions where you just felt like, oh man, they need another ball handler. They need another kind of, on ball creator, especially in a night when David Mirkovic wasn't at his best. He made a few good shots, but, was turning the ball over a little bit and just wasn't at his best. So, yeah, I mean, obviously they missed them a lot. And I think in this instance, maybe it is an excuse,
Well, I mean, there is a fine line between excuses and just the reality of the situation, And I think I would argue to find any of the other top 5-10 teams where you can take 2 starters out of the lineup, and they won't face some crazy adversity. 2 main ball handlers and senior leaders that can kind of steady the ship. And so that's where I think my frustration came in. It's not necessarily how the game played out. It's just, why this year? We're rolling, man, and this stuff happens. And that, I think that's, you're right. Boyd had 8 points at one point, and they had a graphic on the screen of he's had 20 points in 9 straight games, and he's leading the nation. And I'm like, wow, we're doing pretty good. Next thing you know, 25 points.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. And, when you say that there's the frustration, I also feel like you can look at it as potentially a positive because, we all saw Stojakovic do pregame warm-ups yesterday, and he seemed to be moving fairly well. You never really know, but it seemed, it doesn't seem like it's like something that's going to, maybe I shouldn't speculate on that, but from what we saw, he seemed to be moving pretty well. And then, Brad Underwood said after the game last night that Kylan Boswell's progressing. He has an appointment either today or tomorrow to kind of see where he's at, but they made it sound like his return could be in the next, if not Sunday against Indiana, coming up soon. So as you think about that and you think about, okay, you're talking about Big Ten regular season title, is it off the table or not? But when you think about wanting to have your team playing its best basketball in March, and you think, oh, okay, maybe everyone will be back by the end of this month, and then you're starting to get in a rhythm again by the time you reach tournament time. That's, I guess, maybe the positive that you take out of it.
ESPN Radio 93.5, it is The Drive. I'm Curtis. That's Evan. Colleen Kane from the Chicago Tribune on the Dick Van Dyke Appliance World phone line with us. Colleen, something I saw a lot of on social media last night, and things that we got texts and tweets about, was the atmosphere at State Farm Center. Now, maybe I missed some of it. It didn't come across on TV as a little more of a quiet atmosphere to me, but Evan might disagree with me on that. And there were things about coaches chirping at the Orange Crush. And what do you make of any of that? Is that just blah noise, or is the atmosphere really down at State Farm Center compared to other places around the country?
Yeah, I don't know that I'm the best person to ask that because I'm so, where they had us sitting in the second row along courtside, we're like right in front of the Orange Crush. And so people are just screaming in our ears the entire time. So, that you can't really get the full feel of everything going on. There was one point last night, I think it was in the second half after they had Wisconsin had erased that 12-point deficit where I was like, oh, they made it kind of quiet in here. But I didn't feel like it was like throughout the game. I think that's a natural lull maybe when a team comes back like that. So I don't know that I'm the best person to ask about that. I thought the Jake Davis Wig Night thing was fun and, exactly the kind of promotion that a college basketball team should do. It probably wasn't as fun for them when they saw that Wisconsin doing like memes of it afterward. But, yeah, so to me, the atmosphere seemed fine, but for people that were in the stands, in different locations, maybe it was different. I don't know.
Let's speaking of atmosphere, and I have thoughts on that later, Curtis. We'll come back to that.
Okay.
But speaking of atmosphere, can you just talk about the atmosphere in the room during the press conference? I don't know if I've seen a Coach Underwood presser quite like that, where he just gets up and walks off at the end of a question. But also, that just felt like the most frustrated I've seen Brad in it, where he's like pulling his hair out. Just, what else can I do? What did you take away from that presser? Maybe just beyond the words that he said, but the actual atmosphere and emotion that you felt in the room.
Yeah, and I thought he was like that all game. I know he's always active all game, but I thought he was just on edge. It felt like all game too, just in officials' ears, constantly arguing things. And then, afterward, I felt like it was on edge, and it wasn't, anything anyone was asking, but the question about the officiating just kind of, obviously hit a nerve. He mentioned the 10-second call at the end of regulation, and obviously some fouls on Keaton that he feels like Keaton's not getting. So, he was obviously frustrated, and it was something that you could maybe, having sat behind him kind of the whole game, you could see coming and maybe could have foreseen him having that reaction when he got a chance to talk about it.
Colleen, there's not one reason that the Illini lost that game last night, but there are, a lot of reasons being tossed around. What to you was the biggest factor in last night's loss? Was it free throw shooting? Was it getting beat on the boards, or was it just running out of gas? What was your perspective on that?
All of the above. I think obviously like I said, Wagler had a great game, and I don't want to take anything away from it, but he and Mirkovic, missed those 5 free throws down the stretch. They combined for 9 turnovers. So both of those were factors. There were just some mistakes, just little things that just kind of built up into a loss like this. The Zvonimir Ivisic goaltending, stuff like that. Yeah. And then, as you mentioned, the offensive rebounding, which is not something that Illinois, they don't want to be out rebounded on the offensive glass 14-8. So I think all of those things just kind of added up. And I think fatigue too, you're playing 6 guys. The Brandon Lee, the 7th guy, played 57 seconds, I think. Wagler was asked about it after the game, and he kind of brushed it off, but then he kind of went back to it like, it's, you're giving everying you've got over. He played, all but 36 seconds or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You can't. I just don't think you can expect it to not fatigue him, or he's still making threes and stuff like that out there in overtime. But you do wonder as you look back on it if it played a factor in anything at all.
Colleen, we will turn the page on it and get a maybe way too early look at Sunday's game. You're back at home with the Hoosiers at State Farm Center. So your destiny of winning the Big Ten is kind of out of your hands. You need a little bit of help now, but you can still take care of business with Indiana. And then they've got the road trip out to Los Angeles for USC and UCLA before coming back home to have the big game with Michigan. Just focused on Indiana this Sunday. How important is this, we'll say, a little bit of an extended break between now and Sunday for the Illini?
Yeah, I think it's huge, obviously, especially if you can get those guys healthier and in position to play in terms of Kylan and Andre. That would be huge. I think Brad Underwood said after the game, just having, a little bit more time to work through things and then catch your breath, refocus. Some of the rebounding turnover stuff, you wonder whether there was a little bit of lack of focus or what happened there. So I think having the extra, few days is going to be good for them. Obviously, Indiana's not, I think they have 6 Big Ten losses, but they're not like a pushover team. They've beaten Purdue, they beat Wisconsin. They're not just someone you look past, and so
Right.
they're going to need to be, on their game in order to pull this one out.
Well, it definitely looks like coming down the stretch now, it's for sure Michigan's conference to lose. They have to go to Purdue, I believe, and obviously they have to come to Champaign, so it's not impossible. But from everything you've seen, does it look like they're maybe top of the class for this year?
Yeah, I think so. And, it's not to say that they couldn't lose down the stretch, and that obviously that game on the 27th in Champaign with Michigan is going to be a big one no matter what, even if they still are in control of the conference. I think it's going to be a good one. But, I do think they're kind of the class, but it's a big crowd right underneath them, and so things can happen.
Colleen, you're doing a great job as always covering the Illini, and if folks aren't reading your articles or following your work, where can they find you on the socials and track down your stuff with the Tribune?
Yeah, I'm at ShyTribKane on both X or Twitter, and then you can go to chicagotribune.com/colleges to find my work online.
Awesome. We will talk to you again very, very soon. We appreciate your time, Colleen, and maybe we'll talk to you next week after the home game with the Hoosiers if you're available.
Okay, sounds good. Thanks for having me.
Oh, you got it. That is Colleen Kane from the Chicago Tribune. Always a pleasure to get her on the show with us and talk some Illini basketball. Plenty of texts rolling in, 217-359-2255. I had to bring up the atmosphere just because there were so many text messages, tweets about it. Literally before the show today, we were still getting tweets like, hey, you guys going to address the atmosphere at State Farm Center last night? And
that's what I had just pulled open the Twitter to go see, because you had mentioned that. I was like, ooh, what we getting?
Yeah, we did. We got a few of those. Here's one from Matt on the text line as well. My issue is with the crush in the crowd. We have been dreaming of this for years. For a team like this, we are dull, and especially the crush. It's embarrassing considering we're a top 10 team and other crowds are deafening. Tell me how you really feel, Matt.
Yeah. Okay. So quickly, here's my thing with the atmosphere with the Orange Crush.
If you want to tease it, you can. And you can, if you got, you really want to get into it, man. We can in the next segment.
All right, let's get into it in the next segment.
Give me the tease, though. Give me a little Evan Stone. Give me a pebble.
A pebble?
A little Evan Pebble.
I have some friends who are currently in the Orange Crush, and they went up to East Lansing this past weekend, and they had thoughts.
Okay.
So we'll run with that.
Okay. There's our pebble. We'll get into this in the atmosphere of State Farm Center next on The Drive.
Let your local Farmers Insurance agent Michael Rumsey put his experience to work for you. Michael Rumsey proudly serves Champaign County families and businesses and is ready to review your existing policies or provide a no-obligation quote today. Call Michael Rumsey at 217-363-3030 to get smarter about your insurance. Again, that's Michael Rumsey at 217-363-3030. We know a thing or two because we've seen a thing or two.
We are farmers. Bum, 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 bum.
Underwritten by Farmers Truck Fire Insurance Exchanges and Affiliates. Products not available in every state.
Get ready to make unforgettable memories with your little ones at Elmo's Got the Moves, the all-new Sesame Street live show coming to downtown Champaign. You'll be out of your seat and dancing along with Elmo, Abby, Cookie Monster, and their furry friends. Saturday, March 28th at the Virginia Theater in Champaign. Tickets available at thevirginia.org. An experience you and your child will treasure long after the final song. Elmo's Got the Moves. See you on Sesame Street.
February, the month of love, the month to break
Break up! Break up with that junk! 2 Men in a Junk Truck will help you dump that old sofa, nasty fridge, and worn-out TV. Don't stay in a toxic relationship with your clutter. Break free. Our friendly crews make the entire process easy. You point, we haul, no judgment. Decluttering doesn't have to be a project. Contact 2 Men in a Junk Truck today and be junk-free by tomorrow. 2meninajuncktruck.com. 2 Men in a Junk Truck. Junk removal made simple.
Sarah Champagne Managing Partner Ben Quattrone on why integrity is important at Sarah.
We hire the person. The person makes the deal. The person makes the department. The person makes everyone around them treat people with courtesy and respect. If you have a quality human being, you can play any position, right? We're talking about sports. They can perform in any department, and I could teach someone a job, but I can't teach them to be a good person.
Learn more at sarahchampagne.com. That's SERRA champagne.com.
Think you have to settle for mediocre car insurance to save money? Think again. It's possible to get superior coverage and still save money with Erie Insurance. Customers who switched to Erie saved up to $951. It pays to compare. Switch and save with Erie.
Your Erie agent in Champaign is Thomas & Ellers Insurance.
Annual savings based on new customers surveyed in March 2022 who reported savings when switching auto insurance. Individual premiums and savings will vary.
Your ticket to fun and relaxation starts at the Central Illinois Regional Airport. We take the stress out of flying. Free parking and shorter lines. Let Allegiant take you direct to Orlando or Tampa St. Pete, where waving palm trees, beautiful ocean views, and the thrill of amusement parks await. Book today at Sierra.com/Allegiant. Close. Convenient.
Sierra. The Drive with Curtis Allen and Evan Stone on ESPN 93.5.
Are you playing this song right
We
now?
really needed more people jumping around at State Farm Center. That's what did it. That's what happened, Evan
Too
Stone.
soon.
Not enough people out of their seats and jumping up and down. Damn it. It's ESPN Radio 93.5. It is The Drive. I'm Curtis Allen. That is Evan Stone. You gave us a pebble, a tease.
Is that what it was?
Yeah, because one of the biggies that we have seen out of last night's loss, a lot of people have brought up the atmosphere at State Farm Center not being louder than some of the other arenas in the Big Ten.
We've got several texts.
Yes, we do. A ton. Like a ton of text on the atmosphere.
Yeah, we've got, Matt and Muhammad, Nick, well, a lot of Muhammad people. Matt and Muhammad.
Shout
Nick
out to Muhammad.
and
Pull up
Muhammad.
one
Jake
soon.
and Muhammad.
Mm-hmm.
And then Kent and Wade, who probably live in Muhammad.
You think they're all hanging out? Like there's just like 4 or 5 dudes in Muhammad right now?
I'd like to think that's what
somebody's
it
in the
is.
driveway having a beer or something in the garage. Like, let's all text in the show.
Let's do it right now.
Let's do it right now and see which one they read first.
That's what I thought happened earlier when I paused because all 6 of our phone lines started flashing at once.
That's a whole other thing. That's a radio thing.
Like,
when
oh my gosh.
So actually what that is we're getting ready for Cardinals baseball to be back on the air. And before that happens, the Cardinals network, they run these tests, and it involves lighting up your phone line. So at one point, Evan's like, hey, she's on the phone right now calling, and every line we have was completely lit up way too much. It's like, nah, it's not Colleen.
It freaked me out. So we've got lots of texts that are looking at State Farm Center, the Orange Crush, the regular fan, and
the casual fan.
The casual fan, and then the 100 section. So those are the old school A sectioners. We pay good money to sit, kind of in a great seat. And here's my takeaway. I had said, I've got some friends who went up to East Lansing for that game at Breslin, and they are currently in the Orange Crush. And they came back, and I was like, dude, how was the atmosphere? It looked awesome. And he was like, dude, it was so cool. And then the Izzone, like, they jump together.
They jump around?
And it was like my brain broke for a second. And that was that's when I texted you last night, is Wisconsin has the ball with 20 seconds left, tie game at the end of regulation, and I do think our crowd can be loud, but there's no coordination. And there's one guy in the crush behind the Wisconsin bench who's with all his might jumping up and down, and everyone else feels nervous. It feels like a nervous energy.
There is something to that with not just with the Crush. I'm talking about sports in general. There is something to that over the last few years where you do see fan bases just kind of sitting on their hands and they're like, I'm waiting for something bad to happen. Waiting for the bad thing to happen.
This is what I want to understand. And, Kent brings up Mackey Arena. Like I said, my guys were at Breslin. It's like this. If you do Nebraska for football, if you go to a game at Nebraska for football, you have you have smart fans.
Yeah.
They know when to cheer, when not to cheer. They know when to get loud, when not to get loud. They know how to coordinate jumping up and down and all that stuff. And here's a couple of things. Is I think a lot of the Orange Crush sometimes they looked last night like spectators.
Instead of the student section.
Instead of a student section that actually is a part of the game.
We did. Well, go ahead. Go ahead and finish. I'm sorry.
I mean, you brought this up, and someone else brought it up. Like, someone has said, "Well, it's always been like that." I remember those 2000 teams where people didn't want to come play at the Assembly Hall because the Orange Crush was just.
Oh, it was the fan base, man. And some of my closest friends were in the Crush, and they went through the routine. I think you got to get like sponsorships. I don't know if that's still how it works. You got to get sponsorships to be a part of it in this whole. But like. I would see them on TV for every game if I wasn't at State Farm Center watching the game.
Yeah.
But do you think like the jumping up and down? Every high school that had a student section, they did what the Orange Crush did. They were a parody, so to speak, of the Orange Crush. That was like how it was at my high school. Instead of chanting ILLINI, they would chant. They spell out Tigers. They go TIGERS, and you'd see them all. Oh, yeah, I know. Don't knock Paris. Don't you dare knock Paris High School.
I love it.
I see your judgy face over there.
No, I was making sure it was spelled correctly.
Yeah, we know how to spell the word tiger in Edgar County. Thank you very much. Okay, but no, the point is though. It was. You're right. It was a scary place to play. I'm not saying it can't be that or it's not. I didn't notice it as much, I guess, as maybe you did, or as much as so many other people did. But at the same time, I'm kind of locked in on what I'm seeing on the court and not. Yeah, I am.
I'm a real basketball guy and just.
Hey, I'm a real angry tweeter is what I am. I'm waiting for my next angry. But I'm just locked in on what I'm seeing, man. I'm not thinking
I'm an atmosphere guy. Like I love going to road games because I love experiencing other teams' atmospheres.
Yeah.
I love that when I bring a friend to an Illini game for the first time, I want to show them all the stuff. You know what I mean? Like. Hey, wait for the team to run out because they're going to show this thing over there, and then these people are going to be over here, and they're going to have this happening. And, man, at the first time out, you're going to see this. Like, I love the stuff. Here's what it feels like to me is that the Orange Crush shows up, and they think that they I'll give it to them. They're out there in the cold hours before the game. Mm-hmm. I mean, they're dedicated to getting there. It almost feels like they're dedicated to getting there because they're like, oh, we spectators with a great seat. Rather than, oh, we are a coordinated effort that is a part of this team that we actually give our team a better chance of winning when we are all in this together. Now, I know every student section has this. I've also sat around people who start yelling things, and I'm like, come on. At least be creative. And it's like, oh, gosh. That's just mean. Mm-hmm. It's like, and then it's crazy. I'm not blaming our atmosphere or anything for any sort of the game. It's just something I noticed watching it, and a lot of people seem to notice.
Well, like a buddy of mine's son is in the Crush. And he was calling him out online last night on his Facebook page. He was like, look, I know my son's in there, and normally, I don't know, man. They didn't have it tonight. The Crush weren't very good tonight. And I'm like, that's kind of where we're at with this loss. We're looking at anything to give us that control over why the Illini got beat last night. They were gassed. That's why they got beat last night.
That's the big piece. I'll also say
gassed.
This. When we bring up Mackey or Breslin or even a place like Pinnacle Bank or whatever, even Northwestern now kind of, Assembly Hall in Bloomington. You talk about noise levels and volume, and those arenas are all designed in a very specific way where the State Farm Center as beautiful and as amazing. I don't know if beautiful is the right word, but as like
it's beautiful to you,
eclectic,
sir.
and
You love it, baby.
I do love it there, but it's designed in a way where the fans go out. And so it just doesn't capture the sound. Like the acoustics of that arena aren't the same as a place like Mackey.
Yeah.
They're not
no,
the same
I
as-
agree. I do agree with that.
And then I will say this: 217 texted in and said, "I've literally seen people telling other fans to sit down because they can't see in critical moments of games." What? Stand up and cheer. I will say that is okay in certain moments. I have sat around people who maybe are elderly and maybe they have a hard time, or sometimes I take my kids and I'm like trying my best to get them to be able to see. And so I get it in certain moments, but I have sat in a couple of sections where you can definitely tell the people I am owed this seat. And not just this seat. It's like the what's the law that's like when I own my house, I own my property, my house, and then all the air above it. There's people that are like, I have bought this seat and I own everything around
That
this
could
seat.
open up a whole other conversation, though. That right there. Here, funny side story.
What conversation could that open up?
Because it's really freaking expensive to go to anything now.
Oh, yeah.
And I can see somebody being like, I just spent $200 a pop for these seats, and who let Mike Tisdale sit in front of me tonight? Why is he here? He's 7 feet tall. Shout out, Mike. But I'm just saying, like, you know, who let Coleman Hawkins sit in front? I spent all this money, and this guy's going to sneak because he's an Illini alum. He can just stand up in front of me. No, here's a funny little story. The first time I ever took my dad to an Illini game, like he knew the rule about you don't sit down until the other team scores.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, he forgot, and so we get to the game, and he's seriously like, why the hell are all these people standing? When's anybody going to sit down? I was like, we're supposed to stand up. And he really has, I don't think I want to stand up. I just got to my seat. I'm going to sit down now. I was like, well,
Okay, then sit
that's
down.
fine, Dad. You can sit. Nobody's going to get mad at you. It's fine. Why are all these people standing?
Yeah, Marcus in Colorado, but not Colorado, says, sounds like the AD needs to have a conversation with the crush and the block eye.
Maybe.
Maybe. That's not necessarily quite his job. I don't know so much about the block eye because they're just kind of screwed. I mean, it's really hard for them to be a part of what's happening with where they're situated.
Yeah, that's frustrating. We talked about that a couple months ago with Lehman. Yeah,
I do think. I mean, there's something that you need to be able to do. It would be interesting to talk with a member of the Crush right now and say, hey, what's it look like to join the Crush? What's it look like to be a part of it? What's it look like? Do you guys have, practice chants and cheers? And hey, when this happens, we need to do this.
Yeah.
Do you have those moments? Maybe we're being too harsh. I don't know if harsh is the correct word. It's just this is what I'm observing, and I feel like we can do more. I want the Crush to realize that, and this might sound weird. I don't know. They're a part of the team. Like I don't know if me watching at home on my team. I'm not a part of the team. Like whatever. The Crush is a part of this program.
You're yelling at the TV like any rational person would.
Like any rational person.
Yeah, we talked about that yesterday.
The Crush is a part of this program. The better they are, the better we are.
I mean, as far as I know, they still do the organized cheers and chants and stuff, but it has been a long time since I had any friends or family that were in the Crush and would talk about it. So 217 texter here. Here's something I can't address this. This is from Butch on the text line. We had every opportunity to win this game. I don't blame the officials. Having said that, I want to know the last time an official was suspended for a totally lame call, like that 10-second one last night. They send in this stuff to the office. You guys get an apology that they all blew it, but nothing ever happens. Well, they get taken off of games. I think that's the penalty. There's nothing reactive that happens. It's supposed to be a proactive thing.
Well,
so if there's something that is as egregious, to quote Brad Underwood, then when he's done, it's been 2 years since we had a guy on the 2 years, and he had great quote from Underwood on that one.
It's
but
who
the
heck is this guy?
But it does change the cruise, and I don't know if that makes it any better or worse for a program or for fans or the players. But that's what happens. You might go, oh well. I don't know. Bill's not going to be refereeing anytime soon around here. Thank God for that. That's the extent of it.
And this is what I was saying. There's no accountability, it feels like. It's like, okay,
it's
you
tough.
send it in.
Yeah.
And for the longest time, it was, hey, we sent this egregious thing in, and they're going to go ahead and create a rule for us next year. You know, the Illini rules.
The Illini
we got
rule.
So many
That's
of those.
right. The Illini rule. Yeah,
But
there you go.
there's none. Patrick and Muhammad, he texted. There's so many texts. We're trying to get to all of these.
And we will. We're going to get to everybody's text.
Whoa, that's a weird promise.
Well, not everybody. I mean, there's some pretty rude ones, okay?
Or just things we can't say on air.
That's true.
Patrick and Muhammad says, what happened to Merck's free throw shooting last night? He looked broken, and I don't remember his shot being that awful. I think that's part of it. Like,
he's gassed, man.
He's gassed, man, and he's in his head.
We've got just a couple of seconds. We'll get into news. Ravi Lula on the way in the next hour, and more of your texts next on The Drive.
It's day 11 of the search. On Lisa Brady, Fox News. And there are lingering questions about why a man was detained and then released in the Nancy Guthrie investigation. Hours after footage was released from her front door camera, the delivery driver had worked in the Tucson area.
So it may simply be that his vehicle, for instance, was seen on some sort of camera on one of the roads in that neighborhood, in the Nancy Guthrie neighborhood, around that time. We don't know that for sure. But obviously, the FBI and sheriff's deputies are following up every single bit of information they can, and perhaps they put that geolocation detail alongside the idea that he perhaps looked to some extent like the person on the doorbell camera video, and that's why they went to get him.
Fox's Jonathan Hunt in Tucson. Investigators say the sheriff's department alone has had more than 4,000 calls since the door cam footage was released yesterday. The Trump administration blaming Mexican cartel drone activity for a sudden closure of the airspace over parts of New Mexico for more than 8 hours. El Paso Mayor Renard Johnson says there was no advanced warning.
All aviation operations were grounded, including emergency flights. This was a major and unnecessary disruption.
The FAA's initial announcement was for a 10-day closure. Sources are now telling the Associated Press this stemmed from a dispute between the FAA and the Pentagon over a planned military test of a laser for shooting down cartel drones. So far, no confirmation. The White House debating the Save America Act
would require proof of citizenship to register to vote in federal elections, such as a real ID showing citizenship, a passport, a government-issued photo ID showing U.S. birth, or other government-issued photo ID with a birth certificate or naturalization documents.
Fox's Mike Emanuel in Washington. America is listening to Fox News.
Welcome back to Winter Hack Radio, the place for clever hacks to survive the season. Icy driveway? Well, try spreading sand or birdseed to help with traction. Snowy puppy paws? Well, grab a whisk, brush it off, done. Catch COVID-19? Well, just get...
Actually, there's no hack for COVID-19. But if you test positive, prescription medications for COVID exist. Ask your doctor if they're right for you. Visit PfizerForAll.com to learn more. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Are you a fraud-paying American? 1 in 4 tax-paying Americans have been victim of identity fraud. With LifeLock, your identity, if it's stolen, they fix it guaranteed or your money back. And last year, billions in refunds were stolen. Could be from your salary, overtime, or second job. Gone. But this year, you don't need to stay a victim. Because this tax season, fraud-paying American is something no American should have to claim. Save up to 40% off your first year with the promo code BECK. Visit LifeLock.com. Terms do apply.
Police in Canada just confirming the identity of the suspect in one of the worst mass shootings in the country's history. An 18-year-old woman, Jessie Van Rootselaar, who had a history of mental health contact with police, found dead of an apparent self-inflicted gunshot wound, along with her mother and stepbrother, after a shooting at a secondary school that killed a teacher and several students. This happening in the small British Columbia town of Tumbler Ridge. More than 25 others were wounded. An effort to crack down on chronic disease as the Departments of Health and Agriculture roll out new guidelines for how we eat.
Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. and Department of Ag Secretary Brooke Rollins say the government is scrapping old dietary guidelines that promoted ultra-processed and low-quality foods filled with thousands of chemicals that are illegal in other countries.
We spend more than $4 trillion a year on healthcare. 3/4 of that goes to chronic disease that are diet-induced. Getting that right is not optional. Our nation's future depends on it.
That the solution is simple, eating real foods, with plans to reform how food is obtained, to realign incentives, and to expand access to healthy, affordable whole foods nationwide.
Fox's Jeff Bonasso. Actor James Van Der Beek has died. He was a 90s heartthrob, most famous for his lead role in the hit series Dawson's Creek, revealing in 2024 that he was being treated for colorectal cancer.
Van Der Beek's family announced the news with a statement on his Instagram. Quote, "There is so much to share regarding his wishes, love for humanity, and the sacredness of time. Those days will come. For now, we ask for peaceful privacy as we grieve our loving husband, father, son, brother, and friend."
Fox's Monica DeLuca. His family says he passed peacefully this morning. James Van Der Beek was 48. Stocks finished lower. The Dow down 66. The S&P and the NASDAQ also end in the red. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News.
In 1925, Bud and B. Reichert founded a small plumbing business in Urbana. Today, nearly 100 years later, A&R Mechanical is still thriving. A&R Mechanical believes in designing, building, and maintaining. As one of the largest and most innovative contractors in the Midwest, their team creates and sustains essential facility systems for iconic structures like the State Farm Center, the Memorial Stadium expansion, the Oven Basketball Complex, the Smith Football Performance Center, along with baseball, softball, and the Demersion Indoor Golf Facility. I'm Jay Lehman, former Fighting Illini All-American linebacker. As a longtime Champaign-Urbana resident, I can assure you that A&R Mechanical and their contributions have been a cornerstone to this community. Congratulations, A&R Mechanical, on 100 years of dedication, innovation, and community spirit. Design, build, maintain. It's what they've done for nearly 100 years and what they'll continue to do for the next 100 years. A&R Mechanical, celebrating a century of excellence and service. Visit ar-mech.com for more details.
Hi, I'm Diane Ducey, and the 2026 Muhammad Polar Plunge has their peer-to-peer fundraiser to benefit Special Olympic athletes in Region I. With free year-round sports trainings, competitions, health programs, and athlete leadership opportunities, you might want to take note now. To be involved with us at Lake of the Woods in Muhammad, Saturday, February 21st for the Muhammad Polar Plunge, kicking off at noon. Registration is at 10 a.m. and goes to 11:45. And afterwards, my son Aiden, as a Special Olympic athlete, loves to help hand out the plungers to all those who reach their fundraising goals. Plus, there's a costume contest and the Cool School Challenge, plus the College Cup is handed out. Registration for plungers is open now at support.soill.org/Plunge Muhammad. Support Special Olympic athletes in Region I with Stevie J Broadcasting.
I'm very honored to have Brittany Algie in my studio. She's advanced practice registered nurse specializing in behavioral health at OSF Healthcare Sacred Heart in Urbana.
We try to create a very comfortable environment. Just have a conversation. We talk about symptoms. We talk about past diagnoses, things like that, and we kind of get to the root cause of what's going on and what we can do to kind of get you back to your baseline.
Behavioral health professionals, OSF Healthcare Sacred Heart Urbana, 217-337-4310.
Since we opened our doors in 1868, Busey has fostered deep customer relationships and vibrant communities, embodying a legacy of partnership and progress. With multiple lines of business, we provide a range of financial solutions tailored to your needs. From digital banking to planning for retirement, Busey is here to help you achieve your financial goals. Busey Bank, building business, growing wealth since 1868. Member FDIC.
The Drive with Curtis Allen and Evan Stone on ESPN 93.5.
Let's go out there and we'll play the next 24 minutes for the next 24 minutes. And we'll leave it all out on the field. We got the rest of our lives to be mediocre, but we have the opportunity to play like gods for the next half of football. But we can't be afraid to lose. There's no room for fear in this game. And we go out there and we half-ass it because we're scared. All we're left with is an excuse. We're always going to wonder. But we go out there and we give it absolutely everything. That's heroic. Let's be heroes.
Rest in peace, James Van Der Beek. ESPN Radio 93.5. It is The Drive. I'm Curtis Allen. That is Evan Stone. And for those of us of a certain age, that one stings, man. That one stings. Van Der Beek passing away. A lot of people love Dawson's Creek. And me, Varsity Blues. Like, that was at one point the end-all be-all for me, man. It was just like somebody made a movie and cranked it up to 10 about my idiot friends and I. That's kind of how it felt, you know?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That one stinks.
Mm-hmm.
We got Three Doors Down.
Brad Arnold, from Three
I
Doors
couldn't
Down.
remember his name.
Yeah,
Brad, because I don't know names.
All around the same time, right? Brad Arnold, Three Doors Down, Kryptonite, that breaks
I know.
around the same
It's
time
like-
as Varsity Blues comes out. But it was brought to my attention. So now with not to bring it down this afternoon, but Vander Beek, Paul Walker, and the name escapes me, the actor that played Billy Bob, they're all gone. Those three guys, those are the three. So,
oh well.
Yeah, we got to wrap up Scott Conn and bubble wrap and keep him safe. You know, Tweeter, we got to keep Tweeter safe. It is The Drive, ESPN Radio 93.5. I'm Curtis Allen. Lots and lots of text rolling in regards to last night's Illini men's basketball loss to Wisconsin in overtime. And, man, I don't know if I've seen the text lines this lit up after a game. Pretty busy.
Well, people, it's the thing about, the podcast gets more downloads after a loss than it does after a win.
Yeah.
The people are like, I'm angry. I want to hear someone else be angry.
Hey, nobody's angrier than you, Evan Stone.
That's not true.
I'm saving you saying that's not true forever, by the way. Saving that. I'll replace the other drop you don't want me to play anymore with that.
That'll drive my wife crazy because anytime we get in, we're mature, so we don't fight, but we'll have an intense conversation. And she'll be like, "This is what," and my response always is, "That's not true." She's like, "That's not true. That's not." What do you mean that's not true? It just happened. I'm like, what are you throwing phones over there
That's
for?
not true. I didn't do that.
That's what. Yeah. So she would like it if you clipped that. Yeah. Where do we want to go? Man, our ex last night took off with this draft as well.
Can I say something before you? I'm going to beat you to the punch on this. I
Okay.
think we have some people that don't know how a draft works. Put the camera back on me for this one. You're talking about when you draft, the player's off the board. You don't get to be like, hey, no, that guy goes on my team, and that's why my team's like, you guys suck at this. Oh, how could you not take so-and-so? Well,
He was already taken.
He was already taken, Nimrod. We can't take him again.
Whoa, hey, whoa.
Sorry.
Great album.
Sorry, Nimrod. Yeah, that's a good one. But yeah, that was for you, Illini superfan 34, 36, 34. All right, Nimrod.
Wow.
I hope that's not a real Twitter handle. It probably is, though. Some guy right now is like, why am I catching a stray? I thought you did a great job with your draft.
Somebody on X, because he said vote who won, and somebody responded. They just said none, and I just responded on our X. I said nice. So it's a thing. It's a thing.
Hey, I got something for you. How about the opportunity to go see Illinois and Wisconsin play some more basketball tonight at State Farm Center? What do you think about that?
I need a palate cleanse. That's for sure.
Well, we got it for you. The women's team back in action tonight, State Farm Center, and it is K-pop night. I'm not making this up.
No way.
It is their K-pop night. So if you're a parent, you are probably familiar with K-pop Demon Hunters by now. You've heard the music. They've had, I don't know how many hit songs off of that. But we've got tickets for tonight's game. Last minute chance to win. All you got to do is what you always do. Text Illini to 217-359-2255, ILLINI to 217-359-2255. We'll get a couple of winners for tonight's women's game, Illinois versus Wisconsin at State Farm Center, courtesy of Jets Pizza and Parlor Donuts. And since we're talking Illini, as we've been doing the whole show, Ravi Lula on the way in just a bit. We'll switch gears with Ravi and expand out in the Big Ten. But since we're talking Illini, why don't we just get some more Illini headlines? Here's a positive one out of last night's basketball game, sir. Keaton Wagler named to the John Wooden Award late midseason top 20 watch list. That's according to the Los Angeles Athletic Club yesterday. They are a panel of national college basketball experts, so not us. And they find the most outstanding players in all of college basketball, Keaton, on the watch list. Illinois baseball announced that it has added a home game against Butler for Tuesday the 17th. The contest is set to be the earliest outdoor home opener in program history, surpassing last season's February 25th game against Aurora. I haven't checked the forecast for the 17th. I think it's supposed to be in the 50s.
I was about to say, the next week or so.
It's not too terrible.
Ooh, baby.
So you probably go to the game and wear a hoodie. And finally, number 11, Fighting Illini Wrestling Team is set for their final 2 duels of the season this weekend, taking on Nebraska, number 5 Nebraska. That's senior night in Huff Hall on Friday, and a road trip to Northwestern on Sunday at 1 o'clock. All the action on the Big Ten Plus, and those are your Illini headlines. Shout out to some of the people on the text line that have been texting in Illini women to win tickets for the Illini game tonight. You know what? We'll count it. It's fine. We'll count that one. But if you want to win tickets to see Illinois versus Wisconsin in women's basketball tonight at State Farm Center, text Illini to 217-359-2255. Are you giggling at some of the texts that are rolling in?
Yeah.
Yeah. I love it. I love it. You know what? If you want to text in Illini women, you go ahead and text in Illini women. We'll count it, baby. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, that's good.
I got one here. Wade on the text line. He says, hey, did you guys forget that Kyle Tosk was a member of the Orange Crush? Did you forget that, buddy?
I never knew it. So,
What?
Can't forget what you don't know.
What? Hey, Kyle's one of the most organized people I've ever met. So maybe that's why it's a little unorganized. You know, he goes and gets his new job working with Werner and Illini Inquirer, doing a great job there, by the way. But maybe, I don't know, maybe Kyle took all the signs and signals with him for all the, the cool stuff that's supposed to go on. I don't know.
It is funny when you are down there and you get some kids and the freedom to just, say whatever they want to say. And I was, I think it was the Texas Tech game. I was down there kind of walking around in front of the Crush. And one of the guys that Texas Tech comes out and they're all on the bench. He's right behind the bench and he's yelling. He's like, hey, you, frick, I don't know what to say. I was like, did we just start yelling before? It's like that, what was that, Michael Scott, where it's like, sometimes I just start talking and then I just want to see where we end up.
The hamster fell off the wheel, apparently.
Hey, you, dang it. I couldn't think of what to say.
What school are we playing? Longhorns suck. How about that? No, not them.
There was another guy at one point, team comes out. This is a different game. Team comes out and they go, hey! And one of the guys turns around and goes, what? He's like, oh, I don't know. I didn't expect you to turn around. It's like I don't know. Sometimes we catch the card and we're not sure what to do with it.
That's
and
right.
So,
yeah.
That's right. Less personal and more just
the chase is better than
organized.
The catch. You mentioned and I mentioned our draft post 2000 best Illini basketball players. That was the draft we had yesterday. Yourself, myself, and nephew Coop. Still a little bit of time if you want to vote. You can on the socials. Follow us at The Drive 935 on Twitter and Instagram. And also, I was going to save this for later, but I'll go ahead and mention it now. Some of the players that we named actually voted in our draft, which I thought was pretty good.
They did. And not all of them voted for the team that picked them.
You want to tell that story? Let's go ahead and tell that. We got time.
We got some time?
Well, here's what I'll say. I drafted Darren Williams and Keaton Wagler, and they both voted for me on Instagram last night. Which I
swear Keaton did it in the locker room.
That's what I'm saying. Keaton had to be in the locker room. He had to be just chilling, listening to music, and like, oh yeah, I got a notification here from the Drive, and then he voted for me. So that shout out to Keaton. Thank you for that. Shout out to D. Will, wherever Darren's living these days. He comes back around, but you got to vote from Kofi.
Yeah,
you didn't even draft him.
Kofi voted for me. I didn't draft Kofi. But even I texted Cooper. I said, oof, tough break, man. Kofi looked at Cooper's team and was like,
no.
I don't know if that's going to handle.
Not even.
might not stand up.
Not even with me on this team could Cooper's team beat Evan's team. Yeah, Kofi voted. I still think maybe he's got a big thumb. I think maybe he just slipped up.
It's interesting then to see who saw the story but then didn't vote.
Who were some of the guys that saw it and didn't vote? I saw Damascus. I know he was one of them that saw it. I didn't know if he voted or not.
Yeah, so I was going to see if you grabbed any extra votes. So, Coleman saw it.
Coleman Hawkins looked at it, yeah.
No vote. Trent Frazier.
No vote.
No vote. Come on, Trent. Marcus. No vote. D. No vote.
D didn't vote?
No.
Come on. D is like, he's Mr. Promotion. I can't believe D wouldn't have done. Come on now, D.
That's what I thought. Coleman was going to be all over this, man.
Oh, I thought Hawkins. I'm surprised Hawkins didn't add it to his story and tell everybody to vote for him.
Maybe if we would have tagged him on X. I bet he would have been all about it.
Not enough characters, man.
What do you mean not enough characters?
You only get so many with a tweet. Listen,
yeah, but you don't have to.
Listen, I don't got the money to spend extra, for the blue check mark. All right,
well,
I don't got that cash.
We'll say
Maybe
this.
you do.
We're getting down to the nitty gritty because you have a lead on X,
but
I just took the lead on Instagram.
Oh, hogwash! Really?
Why every time someone else gets some good votes, you poo-poo on it?
Not every, just you. Just you, because you're Mr. Chicanery on Instagram. We've established that.
Oh, my gosh.
We established that months ago.
I am
by the
not.
Way. How do I know you didn't use some of your connections to be like, hey, Kofi, don't vote for this kid Cooper. He said you suck, so vote for me instead.
Well, first of all, I would not ever attack someone who's voting for Cooper because he's not going to win. I got to get people voting for you. It would have been me reaching out to Keaton and being like, come on, bro. Like, what are we doing here, man? Come on.
Poor Coop. We love you, buddy. You'll be back tomorrow.
So, yeah, I just
I got a pretty good lead on Twitter.
It's
right
a pretty
now.
good. I think it's going to bring it home for you because you've got 50. What is it? 54%.
Yeah, 54. You've got 35.5. Coop's got 10 and some change.
Yeah, a couple hundred votes.
So here's the rosters real quick before we shut this down. So if you want to vote via text, you can as well at 217-359-2255. Evan took Ayo DeSumo, Frankie Williams, Malcolm Hill, Terrence Shannon Jr., and he took Tommy. So those are your 5. I got Darren Williams, Luther Head, James Augustine, Keaton Wagler, and Myers Leonard. Cooper got Kofi, D. Brown, Trent Frazier, Coleman, and Marcus Damascus. So those are those. And then the number of people that were like, "You didn't take Brian Cook." He was on my list. I thought somebody was going to take
mine too.
Yeah, he was on my list. I was waiting for somebody to take.
There were 2 guys.
Myers. If Myers went, then I was going to take Cook. That was my plan.
2 guys that I actually wanted, but just the way the board fell was Brian Cook and Corey Bradford. Those were the 2 guys that I was like, oh, man. But then other guys fall. And listen,
I thought you might take Sergio. I was waiting for you to take McLean. I thought you might.
He was there, I believe. I mean, it's just so crazy how the game of basketball today, where you're like, okay, this is a person I really like as an Illini. But if I'm putting a team together, I don't know if I would put them on this team and this makeup, So if somebody has zero ability to shoot whatsoever, they probably weren't going to be on the team.
Shout out to Nate in Tuscola. He says Curtis. He voted for me. Anonymous Randy says Darren runs a boxing/martial arts gym in Houston. Oh, that's right. Yeah, Darren was doing a little bit of the celebrity boxing thing. You remember that a couple of years ago?
He knocked someone out. He won his fight.
KO'd some. I can't remember.
Frank Gore.
Was it? Oh, it was
He knocked Frank Gore out.
Oh, it was Frank, wasn't it?
Which I thought Darren was going to get destroyed. Frank Gore's
a tough dude.
He's a big boy.
Hey, shout out to D. Will for getting it done.
Smashed him out. I noticed you stopped reading text.
Oh, sorry. No, you were talking. Bruce and Matt Toon voted for you as well. Jay Money wanted the recap, so we gave Jay Money and everyone else the recap. But yeah, you got a little bit of time to vote. We will tally those up. That'll be the last thing we do in this hour is see who wins. 217-359-2255. If you entered to win tickets for Illini women's basketball tonight at State Farm Center, again, text Illini to 217-359-2255 for that. If you entered, we'll give you a couple more minutes, and we'll start contacting winners. And our guy, Ravi Lula. I got something special for Ravi. I'm pretty excited about this. He's good. Is he joining us next?
He is joining us next.
I got something special for Ravi. And for you as well. And anybody with ears next on The Drive.
Are you tired of shivering in the winter? Look no further than your local heroes at ABC Heating and Air Conditioning. Hi, this is Gina inviting you to give us a call at 217-352-5400 to book your appointment to make sure your furnaces run safely and efficiently this winter. We've been proudly locally owned and operated and have been serving our community for over 50 years. ABC, always be comfortable. Call me 217-352-5400 to book your appointment today or go to abcheatingandac.com.
Drive in, drive out. Recycling's what Max is all about. You can make some cash and do your share. We make it really simple because we care. It doesn't matter large or small. Our friendly staff will handle it all. Starting it over is what we do at Max
There's a new way to stay connected with the Urbana Park District. Just send a text. Got a question or a comment? Text us and we'll reply within 1 business day. And now you can follow your interest. Sign up for text alerts about programs, events, and weather updates. Choose as many interests as you'd like. It's quick and easy. Just visit urbanaparks.org and tap Text Us or follow your interests. Urbana Park District. You belong here.
Let your local farmer's insurance agent Michael Rumsey put his experience to work for you. Michael Rumsey proudly serves Champaign County families and businesses and is ready to review your existing policies or provide a no-obligation quote today. Call Michael Rumsey at 217-363-3030 to get smarter about your insurance. Again, that's Michael Rumsey at 217-363-3030. We know a thing or two because we've seen a thing or two.
We are farmers. Bum, 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 bum.
Underwritten by Farmers Truck Fire Insurance Exchanges and Affiliates. Products not available in every state.
Sarah Champagne Managing Partner Ben Quattrone.
We're always looking for people. You can go online and apply on our website. We never know what we're going to need. We're always expanding. We're always building more and growing our business. If we don't need a person and they come along and we find out that they're an eagle, they're a star, we'll hire them. We'll put them somewhere and wait for the spot we're going to have them working.
Learn more at sarahchampagne.com.
The big game is here, and it's time to elevate your game with Circus Sports Illinois. Circus Sports Illinois isn't just sports betting, it's sports betting the way it should be, with no bet fee. The big game requires a big betting menu, and Circus Sports Illinois has you covered. From player props to game scenarios, Circus Sports has it all, including the fan-favorite Circus Squares menu. Instead of picking your big game squares randomly, choose your numbers and place your bets. Download the Circus Sports Illinois app or visit circusports.com. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
The Drive with Curtis Allen and Evan Stone on ESPN 93.5.
ESPN Radio 93.5, it is The Drive. Thanks for spending some of your Wednesday with us. I'm Curtis Allen, that is Evan Stone. Text lines have been very, very busy. It's been a busy day in regards to Illini basketball. That's been the majority of the show today. Still a little bit of time to vote in our Tuesday draft, which is also Illini basketball related as well.
It is, yeah. I mean, we're in that time of year. We're in the thick of it, the swing of it. We've got Illini basketball games. Big Ten basketball as a whole is really getting after it. And the Illini weren't the only game that went to overtime tonight.
Yeah.
Nebraska-Purdue played. If you missed it because you were watching the Illini, which makes sense.
Sure.
They played maybe the weirdest game of basketball I saw this year.
The highlights I saw was a very, very physical game. And I'm very pleased that we have our next guest on with us because I was doing a little bit of work. I went into the lab, and every once in a while I get to put together something a little special for our regular guests. And, well, here we go. Just wait.
Marty N.
Now, it's not exactly Creed, but...
Well, I just heard the news today. It seems my life is gonna change. I close my eyes, begin to pray.
Get ready. Here it comes.
And tears of joy stream down my face. We talked to Lula, we don't know nothing. She helps us pretend. We talked to Lula about the Big Ten. With open hearts, she welcomes us in.
We talked to Lula about the Big Ten. Ravi Lula is on the Dick Van Dyke Appliance World phone line with us right now. Ravi, I've got 3 different versions of that song for you, so that's the first one. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good. If we could make it sound more like Creed, that would be better.
You know, I'm working on it.
A little Daughtry for me.
That's what I heard too.
I know it was more Daughtry than Creed. I know, but
and despite what people believe, there is a difference. And I do care about that difference. Just because I like one divorced dad band doesn't mean I like them all. I just like Creed.
Just one of them. Dang it.
I don't like Hinder. I don't like Nickelback. I don't like Daughtry. I just like Creed.
I think they're all touring this summer, and I'm not making that up. Ravi, it's so good to talk with you, man.
I went to that tour 2 years ago. It was awesome.
It was awesome. Just a bunch of guys in cargo shorts and
black T-shirts, cargo
black
shorts.
T-shirts,
Yep.
and yeah.
It was Finger 11 and Creed, and I had the time of my life.
We were supposed to go to that together.
Hey, man, I love Finger 11. I love that band. Always have.
See?
Oh, okay. So you were probably locked in on Purdue, Nebraska last night. Let's get into that,
Yeah.
what you saw, and the implications for a Big Ten championship going forward. Because when you really look at it, there's a handful of teams, Purdue, Nebraska, Michigan, and the Illini. Those are the big four in the Big Ten this year. So give me your take on last night.
Yeah, I mean, that was one of the most unhinged basketball games I think I've ever watched. I don't think I'm exaggerating. It was like, so for people that I assume most of your audience was watching Illinois, Wisconsin from the jump, and rightfully so, a great ball game in its own right, which I was able to catch at the end of in overtime after Nebraska's whatever that was. Nebraska just got punched in the face right off the bat and didn't ever really seem to recover. They were down 22 in the second half, and then they're like, oh, yeah, we're pretty good at basketball. Got it down to 4, looked like they ran out of gas. Like, it got back up to 13. C.J. Cox hit a couple big threes for Purdue. It felt like he shot like 80% from 3. He was 3 for 10. They were just the 3 biggest threes of the game. And got it back up to 13. And then Nebraska's like, no, not dead yet. Tied the thing up, had a free throw to win the game with like 12 seconds left. Missed it. Purdue misses. They go to overtime. Sort of the same thing happens in overtime where Nebraska gets down, I think like 6 or 7. They go on a run, take their first lead of the game at 77-76, and then just are not able to hold on. It was one of the most bizarre basketball games. Like, I could not at any point predict what was going to happen next. Like, you get a pretty good sense of like the flow and rhythm of basketball games. You're like, okay, Nebraska came back, they were down 22, they ran out of gas, this thing's a wrap. Like, none of it made sense. None of it made any sense at all. That being said, wildly entertaining for the last like 10, 12 minutes of regulation and overtime. Just phenomenal basketball to watch at that point.
Yeah, I mean, Purdue had a 13-point lead with 2 minutes and 40 seconds left.
Yeah.
And they ended up going to overtime. I mean, it was just, like you said, it was unhinged. Because yesterday in Etched in Stone, if everybody would remember, I took Purdue plus 1.5. And not because I thought, Purdue is some vastly superior team to Nebraska. It just feels like once Purdue dropped those games, they really were going to be desperate. And I thought they would pull this one out. And so, honestly, about the second half, I checked in on it. They're up 20, and I'm like, man, we're good. And I didn't even look back again. And then I saw they're in overtime, and I'm like, what is happening right now? So, what do you Curtis brings up that it was a physical game. We've been talking all afternoon about kind of the officiating for the Illini-Wisconsin game last night. Unfortunately, that was also the conversation after the Illini-Michigan State. It feels like in these big-time Big Ten games, we're talking a lot about the officials. What do you think about the state of college officiating, specifically in the Big Ten Conference?
Yeah, I mean, it's bad. Like, it's been bad for a while. It's not just the Big Ten. It is across college basketball. There are not enough good officials for the level of play that we're seeing. These guys would probably, and this is going to sound meaner than I mean it to be, they'd probably be fine officiating like Division II games where it doesn't move quite as fast. But the level of play at Power Conference Division I basketball is too fast and too physical for guys that aren't good enough at the job to legislate and officiate properly. It's a huge problem. It's a huge problem across college basketball. In the Big Ten, this is, I pay really close attention to Creighton in the Big East as well. It's a huge problem. And it is especially, and I think Nebraska and Illinois have a particular overlap that makes it more dramatic in those games, and that's I don't want to say that they're not capable of playing physical basketball, but it's not their default. Like there are certain teams that will just mug you the entire game, especially off the ball, knowing that these refs that are not good enough to be officiating at this level at a consistent basis, and not all of them, but a lot of them, and they know that they're not going to call everything. And especially off the ball, they're not going to call most things. So if you're a Illinois or a Nebraska where off-the-ball movement is really key to what you're trying to accomplish offensively, it can bog the game down for them in a way that is unreasonably punitive to the style of basketball that they play. And even when you become more physical on the defensive end, the other team's better at doing it because that's their default mode.
Yeah.
So, like when Oscar Clough is just mauling people to get rebounds for Purdue last night against Nebraska, Nebraska can be as physical as they want. He's better at it than they are because that's his default mode. Like that's what he does, and it's not what Rink Mass necessarily does or what Barricade Buchanan Joe necessarily does. It's just it's an overly, if you have bad officials, it is overly punitive to certain styles of play. And I think Illinois and Nebraska both fall in that category.
Yeah, I think Coach Underwood had some things to say in his press conference last night after the game and ended up just walking out of the press conference because I think he said what he said and then realized I better stop talking and then just left the presser. The biggest frustration seems to be I think everyone is okay with bad officiating. We just want consistently bad if it's going to be bad. Like, I just want to know what a foul is and what's not a foul.
So I'm going to stop you there for a second because I would make the argument that the only thing that makes officiating bad is inconsistency. So that's the problem, right? When I talk about guys that aren't good enough at officiating, it's their inability to consistently call a certain level of play across the board, right? Yes, there are teams that benefit from a looser whistle and teams that benefit from a tighter whistle. And I think that does matter. But the real problem is you don't know on any given possession what's going to be a foul and what's not going to be a foul. That's the only thing that, in my mind, actually qualifies as bad officiating because you can adjust to a consistent whistle, whatever that whistle is. You cannot figure out a way to play consistently with an inconsistent whistle. And that's where I think teams like Nebraska and Illinois particularly struggle because it's not their MO to just go, hey, we're just going to hack you guys and just see what happens with the officiating because they probably don't want to blow the whistle that much. Like, if you're not built that way and if you don't coach that way, which, by the way, you shouldn't. That sucks. That's bad for basketball. Don't do that. Like, if you're a coach that does that, just stop. It's awful. But, like, if you're...
Name names. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
I will. Like Mick Cronin, for one. Like that's right up his alley. That's how he's always coached basketball. Dan Hurley, for another. They play horrifying basketball. Kevin Willard coaches that way a lot. Chris Mack coaches that way a lot. I mean, there's a lot of them. Like it's a way of going about your business that gets rewarded because officiating cannot handle it. And so, like, to me, that's a huge problem in college basketball. And I think there's actually an easy fix because the NCAA makes $1 billion, a literal $1 billion a year on March Madness alone. You're supposed to be a nonprofit organization. Cut a little slice out for full-time officials. That's your solve.
ESPN Radio 93.5, it is The Drive. Our guy, Ravi Lula from Hurrdat Sports on the Dick Van Dyke Appliance World phone line with us. Ravi, when you look at the remaining schedule in the Big Ten, I think everybody's got about 6 games left before we get into the Big Ten tournament in March. How do you see some of this sort of shaking out over the next month?
Yeah, so I look at, like, we were actually doing this morning on our show. Like, so Michigan actually, there's some potential losses down the stretch there for Michigan. They have, I think, 4 tricky conference games left, and 3 of them are on the road. I think only Michigan State's at home out of that stretch for Michigan. So, like, there's some opportunity to take some losses there. Obviously, the Duke game is a marquee matchup, but for conference standings, doesn't matter. And And then Illinois in particular actually does not have a terrible stretch to end the season.
Right.
So I look at teams that can catch up with Michigan, and Illinois actually really pops off to me. Purdue's is manageable, but they probably have to win out to try and catch Michigan. Nebraska really doesn't have a terrible schedule on the way out. Iowa twice is their toughest opponent, and Iowa doesn't play with a ton of margin for error. When you're a limit possessions type of team like Iowa is, and like Ben McCollum is one of my favorite coaches. Like, he's really, really good at what he does, but where they're at right now as a program, you don't leave yourselves a ton of margin for error. They remind me of some of those Virginia teams before they got with Tony Bennett, before they got some of the guys that ended up playing in the NBA. So think of the teams like before DeAndre Hunter and Ty Jerome and Kyle Guy in like the mid 2010s. That's sort of what this Iowa team is in my mind. Not as stout defensively, but similar stylistically. And as you remember, like, the margin of error for those Virginia teams was not good. That's why they lost to a 16 seed as a 1, because their margin of error, if they weren't making shots, was really, really slim. And if their defense lapsed at all, things could get away from them in a hurry. That's what this Iowa team is to me, but they can also beat anybody because they're going to stay in most games. So that's Nebraska's toughest way on the way out. But Nebraska and Illinois, and I'm just saying that because that's the two sides represented here, those I think have the best opportunities down the stretch to actually catch Michigan if Michigan does stumble in some of those games. I think there's a clear line. I think you named 4. I would add Michigan State in there. I think they're the other team with 3 losses in conference.
Yep.
That would, and I'm not a Michigan State fan. They can't score enough for me. I think Izzo's prowess is overrated. Like, that is a team that like is in the hunt, but I don't think they're really in a position to chase down Michigan. I think they're more likely to fall back into that Wisconsin, UCLA, Iowa range. USC probably in there too, in terms of teams with 4 or 5 losses in conference. But if I'm looking at who can chase down Michigan, I think it's Nebraska or Illinois.
Yeah, I mean, and that's what we were kind of talking about that earlier too. The fact that Illinois, because of last night and some of the injuries that they've had and depth issues now, they don't control their own destiny. However, they do get Michigan at home, and that's
which helps a lot.
That's their biggest game left. Someone had texted. I was trying to find the text. I apologize because I can't find it. Whoever texted it in. They were saying, hey, can we actually look at Michigan over the last month and a half or so? Are they as scary as we thought they were going to be?
Great question.
They're not.
They're not. Yeah.
They almost lost to Penn State. They almost lost to a super undermanned Nebraska team. They lost to Wisconsin. Like, when I look at their schedule, when I look at the teams left on it, it's like, so it's Illinois, Iowa, Michigan State, and then they play the game right before. Do they play Purdue right before?
They go
Duke?
to Purdue. Yeah.
Yeah. So those 4 games, like, I look at those and I was like, all those teams can beat Michigan, like all of them. Like, and so they don't look in. If you got before conference play when they were just waxing people, you look at it and you go, yeah, this Michigan team's super scary. I feel like we still have that version of Michigan in our head, and that's not been the reality of who Michigan has been. Now, they still won, obviously, most of the games, but that has not been like the gap has closed pretty significantly from who we thought Michigan was early to who they have been as of late. Now, there's like Iowa's not a great matchup. Like, Iowa doesn't have a great matchup against Michigan, but I think Illinois has a good matchup against Michigan. I think Purdue has a good matchup against Michigan. And obviously Michigan State, that's a rivalry. That's kind of I'm just going to flip a coin and see what happens there. But like, they're really, really, really good. But they're not terrifying the way it looked like they might be earlier in the year.
Yeah. Hey, is DB going to sneak out here for some Illinois-Nebraska wrestling? What's going on?
I don't know. He's a big wrestling guy, as you know. I don't know if he's going to make the trip, but
lame.
he's definitely going to be dialed in. Like, that's not a bit. Like, he is an avid wrestling guy.
Yeah. I'm gonna call in tomorrow or Friday, and we're gonna talk some Illinois, Nebraska.
Oh, you're gonna call into Ravi's show?
Yeah, I'm just gonna do it.
Okay.
This is how I book my spots.
Oh, you can do that, huh?
Yeah, I did this with Scott Van Pelt too. I said, "Hey, I'm just gonna call it." He didn't respond, but
big time.
Didn't answer the phone
How
either.
did that go?
Yeah, it didn't go well.
What if you're not dropping off kids or something? I think we got some time in the 8 o'clock tomorrow.
Yeah, I don't care about them. So like it's we can make it work. We can make it. Actually, I'm just kidding. They're the light of my life.
Uncle Evan.
Yeah. So Ravi, thanks for jumping on, man. We appreciate it. I don't know how to. We're gonna get some more.
What?
Come on, man. I was trying to think of some other stories that I wanted to tell with Ravi, and then I thought I can't tell that one. Man, I can't tell that one either.
You know what you can tell them? You know where you can tell those stories? The ones you can't tell on the air here, you can tell them with Ravi on his show tomorrow, because I know they get away with a little bit more on the internet, sir.
Yeah, they're not syndicated.
True.
Is that what it means?
We have no rules, and I'm gonna be honest. It's scary out there sometimes, like without guardrails. It's a lot of fun, but sometimes I'm like, wow, I don't feel like we should be given this much freedom. I feel like I need more restraint than I am given.
Yeah, it's an interesting dynamic when you got an Indian guy, a black guy, and a real small white guy with a bad back and a quick.
I know this joke. No, I know this joke. Hold on, Ravi, where can they find you on the socials, man?
You can find me personally at R.A. Lula, that's RALULLA, or you can find the show at Hurrdat Sports, that's HURRDAT Sports. Yeah, and as Evan alluded to there, I'm going to be honest, we're only we're not even halfway through there. I've made a lot of Black History Month jokes. A lot.
Well, I mean, you're just honoring your co-host.
I am, yeah. He gives me a lot more leeway than he should.
Hey, actually,
I'm surprised he hasn't choked me yet.
I mean, here's the thing. People thought, I got people riled up last week.
With Tom Izzo?
With Tom Izzo. Ravi got the Nebraska folk riled up this week because he put Memorial Stadium fourth in his favorite stadiums in Nebraska.
It's not a good venue. I'm just like, it's not. People confuse nostalgia with quality.
True.
It's not the same thing.
True.
You can have terrific memories there, and not have it not be a good There's no amenities. It's tough to get around. It's not a good venue.
Well, they always say, stay out of the replies. Don't get in the replies.
Don't read the comments.
I read every single one of those, Rob.
And by the way, Evan, you're right on Tom Izzo. He's overrated. His prowess is
we can't do it. No, not today. We don't have time.
Thank you, Ravi. Thank you. All right, man.
Also, Kurt, you dominated on the draft yesterday. I just want to make that clear.
Thank you so much. I appreciate
wild.
that. Yeah.
Dominated? What are you even talking about?
I voted for Kurt. I saw that. Not given any reason to try and vote for you. Kurt ran away with it. I don't know what to tell you.
Boom. Take that, baby.
I'm looking at all of our teams, and I just don't see that. I don't see it.
You know who sees it? The listeners do, because I'm winning right now.
You know who doesn't see it
went
also?
heavy on that 05 Illinois team.
They were leaving them for me, dude. They were leaving those guys out there. I had to. If you're just going to leave that
I can't
group.
believe you had Darren Williams just sitting there for you. What are we doing?
Had to take D.
And
Will.
Luther Head? Come on.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I couldn't take Luther. It snaked back around, and Cooper doesn't know who Luther Head is.
That's true. Luther is our generation. He's not Cooper's. All right, man. We are due for a break, Robbie, but it was so good to talk with you. Let's get back on next week so I can keep debuting your intro music. I've got a couple more that I want to run by you before we pick one officially.
I can't wait. Need more Creed vibes, less Daughtry vibes. That's my only note.
All right, I'll see what I can do for you. That's Ravi Lula on the Dick Van Dyke Appliance World phone line with us. Always a pleasure to talk with him. And always a pleasure to get your text as well, 217-359-2255. Ryan and Fisher pointed out Duke's hiding in there for Michigan. We addressed that a little bit. Won't do anything necessarily for Big Ten rankings, but it could have an impact come tournament time and so on and so forth. All right. Anonymous Randy says, entertain me. Well, you know what, Anonymous Randy? That's what we do, buddy. We entertain for one man and one man only, and that is you. And have you voted, by the way, Anonymous Randy, in our draft? Because we still got a couple of minutes left for you to vote at 217-359-2255. So we'll do our final tally. We'll entertain Anonymous Randy with some great one-liner jokes. Can't wait to do that.
No, I went back to look. He did not vote. He just said, you all have a good list except one. Can you read the list again?
Yeah.
I'm like, that's right. He just wanted to hate on us.
You know what we need? Hey, Randy, text in and tell us which of our picks are bad, and then we'll go from there. We'll do that next on the drive.
Rescue workers face death every day, and far too often their families lose them while they're helping you on the road. When you see emergency lights flashing, you must slow down and move over to the far lane. That includes red, blue, and orange lights. If you hit someone on the road, you'll be charged with a felony. That means jail time. Help us keep our families safe when we're out helping yours. When the lights are flashing, use caution passing. Let's all go home safe tonight.
Brought to you by Tapman's Towing.
Are you a fraud-paying American? 1 in 4 tax-paying Americans have been victim of identity fraud. With LifeLock, your identity, if it's stolen, they fix it guaranteed or your money back. And last year, billions in refunds were stolen. Could be from your salary, overtime, or second job. Gone. But this year, you don't need to stay a victim. Because this tax season, fraud-paying American is something no American should have to claim. Save up to 40% off your first year with the promo code BECK. Visit LifeLock.com. Terms do apply.
Get ready to make unforgettable memories with your little ones at Elmo's Got the Moves, the all-new Sesame Street live show coming to downtown Champaign. You'll be out of your seat and dancing along with Elmo, Abby, Cookie Monster, and their furry friends. Saturday, March 28th at the Virginia Theater in Champaign. Tickets available at thevirginia.org. An experience you and your child will treasure long after the final song. Elmo's Got the Moves. See you on Sesame Street.
If you want a hand-cut, perfectly cooked filet, there's only one place to get it. The Long Branch Steakhouse in downtown Gifford. Customers rave about Donnie's fillets. So tender that you can cut it with your fork. Don't go to an ordinary steakhouse. Choose Long Branch and have it your way. Join the many people who know that it's worth the trip. The Long Branch Steakhouse in beautiful downtown Gifford. And remember, there's always room for Long Branch.
Drive with Curtis Allen and Evan Stone on ESPN 93.5.
Text lines have been fired today. Very, very busy. It's ESPN Radio 93.5. It is The Drive. I'm Curtis Allen. That is Evan Stone. People with some strong, strong opinions on what happened at State Farm Center last night. The Illini fall 92-90 to the Badgers in overtime. And it's been the whole show today, right? It's what we've been doing for the last couple hours is talking about it.
Yep. Anonymous Randy voted for me.
No, he did not.
He literally just did. You don't even have the text line pulled up. What do you want me to do?
Last thing I see is our winners. Oh, never mind. Randy, Anonymous Randy. I do see a text here from Anonymous Randy. He says, and I'll just share this with everyone because we're family here on the drive.
Well, I just think he typo.
I think he actually licked his phone, licked Cooper's list, but he picked a transfer. So there you go. Anonymous Randy was licking the phone, licked the list, and then there's a transfer. Can't go with that.
Licked it. Hey, Etched in Stone last night went 2-2.
All right, we're batting 500. We'll take it.
Yeah, we took Duke minus 17.5. They won by 16. That one hurt.
Come on. Those are the worst.
Yeah, we took Nova 9.5 over Marquette. I can't remember. I know they didn't cover. I think they won by 5 or 6. But then we took Purdue plus 1.5 and over 146.5, and both of those hit. So nice little same game parlay.
All right,
that we got going there. And then real quick before we shut down the voting here. Tonight, we got the Citadel going to West Carolina.
Ah, yes, the Citadel.
Citadel has been covering like a machine over the last couple weeks.
They have been brought up more than once in Etched in Stone.
So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to take the Citadel plus 9.5 Etched in Stone.
Ready for the music?
We need money.
Yeah, we are. All right. Etched in Stone for the Citadel. What is next?
Okay, coming up next, we got Eastern Carolina. They're hosting UTSA, the Roadrunners. Beep, beep.
Taking on the Pirates.
Yep, I'm going to take East Carolina minus 10.5. UTSA, they don't cover very well. Give me 10.5 for East Carolina, Etched in Stone.
Etched in Stone. Caton Hauser's former stomping grounds, by the way.
That's it.
You might have heard about that.
Who? I got one more.
Yeah.
Mercer.
Oh, no, not the Mercer. Not the Mercer. Oh,
Mercer
gosh.
let us down the last, I think the last 2 games, but I'm feeling good. I think they're back on track tonight. They're hosting Furman. Mercer is a 3. Mercer and Furman.
Mercer versus the Vermin. Oh, you're really pushing the envelope today, buddy.
So Mercer is getting 3.5. Give me Mercer minus 3.5 against Furman. Etch it in stone.
We need money.
We need money, and we need a vaccine. When you're dealing with Mercer and Vermin, there's germs spreading everywhere.
Yeah. Alabama going to Ole Miss.
That'd be a good one tonight.
Yeah, Ole Miss isn't very good this year, and Alabama's catching 6.5 points. So I think I like Alabama to cover. Give me Alabama minus 6.5 at Ole Miss. Etch it in stone.
Oh, okay. And hit the hammer again. I thought you were ending it with the Vermin and the Mercer.
Oh no, I got 2 more.
Just makes me itchy. Okay, go ahead.
2 more.
Yeah.
UConn going to Butler.
Okay.
UConn is an 11.5 point favorite.
You like that one?
I think I do.
All right.
UConn coming off of a loss at St. John's. I think they want to get back on track.
Good point. Yeah.
Give me UConn minus 11.5 against Butler. Etch it in stone.
Okay. One more for the homies.
Yeah, one more. Come on, they're here somewhere. They're here somewhere. Where are you at, baby?
Well, when you're
Where are
dealing
you at?
with Vermin and Mercer, it's not good. In fact, I think on one of the latest episodes of The Pit, somebody has Mercer. It's terrible. Just gross.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
That's gross. Cincinnati at Kansas State. Cincinnati goes under. They had an outbreak this past weekend. They scored 90-something points.
Is this because I brought up Mercer? Is that why you said the outbreak happened?
No.
Sorry. Go ahead.
They are like 4-17 at hitting the under.
That's okay.
And so they go under quite a bit. And then randomly this last week, they scored 90 points in a game. I don't know what happened. But Cincinnati traveling over to Kansas State. The over-under is 146.5. I'm going to take the under 146.5. Etch it in stone.
We need money.
We need the money. Run through it one more time, man.
One last one for fun.
Okay, onesies for
9:30
funsies.
tip-off. Penn State traveling all the way cross-country to go to Washington.
Oh, that's a late tip for Penn State.
Yeah, Washington is a 12.5 point favorite. Give me Washington.
Yeah, we'll go ahead and hit the hammer one more time.
Yeah, etch it in stone.
Yeah, there it is. We'll hit that hammer again.
Okay, we got Washington minus 12.5 at home against Penn State. We've got Cincinnati and Kansas State under 146.5. We've got Mercer covering 3.5 against Furman.
Oh, Mercer.
We've got UConn covering 11.5 against Butler. We've got Alabama covering 6.5 against Ole Miss. We've got the Citadel plus. Oh, we've got East Carolina minus 10.5 against UTSA. We did more than I thought.
Yeah.
And we've got the Citadel covering 9.5 against West Carolina.
Look, when you're rolling in the dough like you are post Super Bowl, you're gonna throw some bets around. I get it.
I am very rich.
I know you. I know that. I know.
Rich enough to go to Kohl's instead of TJ Maxx, baby.
You kidding me?
You
get the Kohl's cash, huh?
Come on now.
You get those emails or whatever, and they're like, "Hey, you've got $10 to Kohl's cash." It's like, "Well, I got to use it right now."
I'm getting out there, but it's always like, but you can only use it between Thursday at 1:34 p.m. And that's okay. I want them to sponsor me.
Kohl's?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's where the toys are, right? Or is that's not Kohl's?
They have toys.
This is from a commercial. Hills. I bet you don't even remember Hills.
Hills?
Hills stores. Remember Hills?
No.
is where the toys are.
I have no idea what that is.
Yeah, it used to be a thing. Now it's Kohl's.
Oh. All right. Well,
Did I win? Did I win?
Let's do some final check-in here. I'm going to think you got a big enough lead on X. So I won the text line, and I won Instagram.
Are you sure you won the text line? All right, I'll let you say it. Okay.
I'm pretty positive I won by a couple of votes. The way they were rolling in.
Hey, Butch voted for me. I don't know if you saw that on the text line. Thank you so much, Butch. Appreciate that.
Oh, then that has to be that knocked you, took you over the top there.
Yeah, thank you, Butch.
I don't know. We've got so many notifications and tweets and retweets and so much craziness going. Out of almost 200 votes on the old X, Curtis is sitting at 53.2%.
That's pretty good.
I've got 35.6%, and then Cooper is sitting at 11.2%. I really do think you got the nostalgic nod with the Darren Luther James. They roll right off the tongue.
Nobody else took him. I had the second pick. I didn't get to snake
Hey, I'm not
draft.
mad about it.
You want to give me 3 of that 5? I'll take them. Come on.
Yeah, that's fine. I probably wouldn't have taken James.
No?
Angie spelled his name wrong on X, but that's fine.
No, I didn't. Oh, yeah, I did. Autocorrect must have got me there. Sorry, Augie.
It does. I mean, it'll get you like that.
Sorry, Augie.
So I was trying to pit these teams against each other.
Mm-hmm.
You got Myers down in the post. Tommy Garden Myers. It probably doesn't feel good against Tommy or Kofi. Kofi and Myers Garden Kofi. That would be a heck of a matchup.
Mm-hmm.
But I wouldn't hate watching Io and Frank and Terrence in the backcourt against any of these other teams. A backcourt of Io, Frank, and Terrence versus Darren, Luther, and Keaton would be fun.
Oh, dude.
D, Trent, and Marcus wouldn't be even